At 5:51 local time, steel thrums under a constant strain. The sea lies calm, almost glass smooth, a dark mirror reaching all the way to the horizon. On the bridge, voices stay low, barely above a whisper. Deep below, inside the Combat Information Center, console light washes tired faces in a muted blue glow. Then a single tone cuts through the silence. Sonar has a contact. Not loud, not fast, just there. Its bearing holds steady, its depth remains unclear. Its speed is slow enough to disappear into the ocean's own background noise. This is the kind of presence that never needs to announce itself. Mark the contact. Keep continuous track. The plot steadies. The trace stays firm. It doesn't drift like a whale. It doesn't flicker like floating debris. It moves with intent, slipping along a layer of cold water that bends sound and punishes mistakes. The officer of the watch leans in. No panic, no theatrics. This is exactly why the ship exists. Another update sweeps across the screen. The contact shifts course by 2 degrees, only enough to spoil a clean firing solution, only enough to see whether anyone on board is truly paying attention. They are. Passive sonar arrays trail behind the ship like unseen nets. Every vibration, every whisper of cavitation, every mechanical pulse is checked against a signature library built over decades. The ocean may hide its truths, but the machines remember everything. The contact does not match commercial traffic, it does not fit fishing equipment, it does not resemble anything that should be here. Unknown submerged contact, maintain track. The bridge acknowledges without reaction. Course and speed stay exactly the same. No abrupt maneuver, no visible tension. The ship does not give away even a hint of concern. Far below, another tone sounds, sharper this time. A faint harmonic rises out of the noise floor. Not enough for identification, but enough to confirm one unsettling fact. The contact is listening too. Recommend Condition 3. The words are clipped and emotionless. They do not need emphasis. Condition 3. Key station set and manned. Across the ship, movement spreads in quiet, disciplined waves. Hatches seal, systems come alive. Weapons stay cold, but ready. This is not escalation. It is posture. The contact edges closer. Range begins to shrink, slow and deliberate. Whoever is beneath the surface knows precisely how fast they are moving and exactly how near they can come without forcing a response. It is skilled, controlled, confident. A junior sonar operator catches a subtle change in the return. The contact drops deeper, then levels off, settling into the sound channel. A textbook move. Hide where detection becomes hardest. Hide where mistakes are easiest to miss. The supervisor gives a single nod. A small gesture, but it says enough. No one mentions nationality. No one assigns a flag. Down here, origin means less than action. What matters is behavior. And this contact is positioning. The ship continues on course, a gray silhouette dragging a white wake across calm water, acting as though it has not noticed the predator keeping pace below. Every second is logged. Every movement receives a timestamp. The captain studies the plot without speaking. He does not ask for choices. He already knows them. Passive tracking continues. No active sonar. Not because the ship lacks the capability, but because it has no need to reveal itself. One active ping would illuminate the sea like a flare, broadcasting its position to everything within range. For now, silence is the sharper tool. Another bearing update arrives. The contact has moved off the starboard quarter, holding a shadow position that offers both patience and advantage. A classic posture, near enough to matter, far enough to avoid certainty. Inside the CIC, analysts begin shaping a picture out of fragments. Blade rate estimates, machinery rhythm, the subtle rise and fall of acoustic patterns. The data gives no name, but it speaks clearly enough about intent. Attack profile. Somewhere beneath the keel, someone believes an opportunity has appeared. Above the surface, nothing changes. The sea remains calm. The sky stays empty. To anyone watching from afar, it is only another ship making another quiet passage. But underwater, the situation has already changed. A boundary has been crossed. The contact slows again, matching speed, refining its geometry. It is not fleeing. It is not wandering. It is stalking. Contact maintains track. No change in behavior. The report lands with no drama, plain and precise. Yet everyone in the room understands exactly what it means. This is not curiosity, and it is not an accident. This is intentional. The captain gives one small nod. Still, no order comes to escalate. Not yet. In a confrontation like this, the opening move is not noise, it is patience. And patience is exactly what this ship chooses. At 5:29 local time, nothing on the surface looks different. The horizon stays clear. The wake runs straight. From the bridge, the sea appears detached, almost calm enough to make anyone forget what is unfolding below. But inside the Combat Information Center, the plot tells a very different story. The contact is adjusting depth. The change is slight, almost careful. 5 meters down, then steady again. A move designed to sink deeper into the sound channel, where temperature layers bend sonar returns and blur the edges. It is not random. It is deliberate, carried out by a crew that knows the ocean just as well as the ship tracking it. Passive arrays extend their reach, separating noise from signal. For a brief moment, the contact's acoustic signature sharpens, then softens again as its speed drops by half a knot. That says plenty. They are testing. The ship holds course and speed. No helm orders, no visible reaction. Right now, the worst mistake would be to show interest. Inside the CIC, technicians begin peeling apart the sound layer by layer. A faint rhythm starts to appear. Regular, mechanical, repeating. Not enough to assign a specific hull, but more than enough to rule out anything civilian. Contact classified, probable military submarine. The words land flat and controlled. No one even looks up. Another bearing update arrives. The contact shifts laterally, sliding across the ship's baffles, probing the blind zone where stern noise can conceal an approach. A classic move. Old doctrine, still effective. The supervisor marks it with a grease pencil, then taps the plot twice. He's checking whether we react. They do not. The ship answers with restraint, staying steady and allowing the submarine to commit itself to the geometry. Every move the contact makes gives something away: how quickly it gains speed, how cleanly it turns, how disciplined its noise control really is. That information is worth more than an immediate response. A low-frequency tone creeps into the background, then fades. Not an active ping. Not yet. More like a system check, internal, careful. Someone down there is preparing for a longer game. Range decreasing slowly. The numbers close with patience measured in minutes, not seconds. This is not a rush. It is positioning. Above deck, sailors continue their routine watches. Coffee steams, logbooks are filled. Nothing in their body language suggests the pressure building beneath them. That, too, is deliberate. Below, the sonar team works in near silence. Headphones on, eyes fixed, every update logged to the second. The ocean is deafening when you do not understand what you are hearing. When you do, it becomes brutally honest. The contact settles once more, now directly astern, tucked neatly into the ship's acoustic shadow. It is a bold decision. From there, the submarine can trail with very little exposure, but it also limits its own options if the situation shifts. Contact in baffles. A pause follows the report. Not fear, calculation. The captain studies the plot. Still no active sonar, still no helicopter. The ship remains steady and unreadable, almost complacent. Almost. Because beneath the calm, the data continues to build. Blade rate consistency, machinery harmonics, turn radius, acceleration lag. Each detail fills in another missing piece. This is not a reconnaissance pass. It is an approach. The submarine edges closer, trimming distance in increments too small to trigger alarm, yet far too consistent to dismiss. Someone below believes they remain undetected. Someone believes they have the right angle. Inside the CIC, a new overlay appears, projected movement based on current behavior. The path curves gently forward into a position that offers control and flexibility. A geometry built for action. Recommend maintain passive, continue logging. The bridge agrees. Silence becomes a weapon. The contact makes another move, easing to port just enough to slip out of the baffles and check for pursuit. The ship refuses the invitation. No turn, no speed change. That answer matters. Far below, the submarine holds position for nearly 3 minutes. Long enough to listen, long enough to decide. Then it moves again. This time, the shift carries more confidence. Speed rises by a full knot. Depth remains steady. The submarine is no longer sampling the situation. Now it is committing. The supervisor lets out a slow breath. He thinks we don't see him. The plot updates again. Symbols creep closer. The lines tighten, no alarms sound, no announcement rolls through the ship, but everyone who needs to understand already does. The shadow is not moving on, it is staying. At 5:41 local time, the contact changes behavior again. Not sharply, not dramatically, just enough to matter. Speed increases by another knot, depth remains constant. The turn is shallow, almost casual, but the intention behind it is exact. On the plot, the geometry compresses. The lines begin to converge in a way that leaves little room for doubt. He's building a firing solution. The words are spoken softly, more confirmation than warning. In sonar, a new pattern begins to show itself. The acoustic signature sharpens, then smooths again as the submarine trims into a steady course. That steadiness is the giveaway. This is no longer simple maneuvering. Now it is preparation. The contact slips forward out of the baffles, moving into a position where concealment matters less than control. From there, the angles become more favorable. From there, the possibilities open up. The ship gives nothing away. No change in course, no change in speed, no active sonar. The captain studies the plot in silence. Letting the submarine believe its own assumptions costs nothing. Breaking that illusion too soon would cost much more. Another update comes in. The contact stops its lateral drift and settles into a tight corridor off the ship's quarter. The range is close enough to matter now, close enough that any mistake on either side could turn minutes into seconds. Contact steady, bearing constant. Inside the CIC, analysts begin layering probability models over the track. With the geometry as it stands, the submarine's fire control picture would be clean. Range rate, aspect, motion, all the pieces needed to make a choice. That choice has not come yet, but the path is there. A slight disturbance moves across the noise floor on the display. Brief, controlled, easy to miss if no one is paying attention. Not a launch, not even close. More like a system shift, possible combat system alignment. No one raises their voice. The commander below likely believes he has found the right kind of target. A surface warship moving steadily, no escorts in sight, no aircraft overhead, no obvious sign of focused anti-submarine posture. From his view, it looks like an opening. From this ship's view, it looks like a serious mistake. At last, the captain speaks, just one sentence. Calm and level. Continue passive. Let him finish. Because there is value in being selected, the submarine edges closer, committing fully to the geometry. Speed remains steady, depth remains steady. Bearing stays fixed. The movement now is minimal, limited to tiny, deliberate adjustments, meant to perfect angles and timing. This is no longer a test. This is intent. In sonar, the team isolates another detail, a faint repeating modulation buried deep inside the contact's signature. It aligns with a known class profile. Not enough to say the name aloud, but enough to confirm the type of platform involved. Attack submarine profile consistent. The supervisor gives a single nod. The data is logged, timestamped, preserved. Still, the ship does not move. Above deck, the ocean remains smooth as glass. Sunlight climbs higher. A seabird crosses the wake and vanishes into the distance. To anyone looking on from afar, nothing seems unusual. Beneath the surface, everything is changing. The contact adjusts again by a fraction of a degree, the kind of correction made when someone is satisfied with the picture and wants to keep it perfect. The kind of correction made while waiting. The CIC clock keeps moving. Every second feels longer. The ship's systems are fully awake now, fully manned, fully aware, and still silent. Defensive measures remain idle. Active sonar stays dark. The helicopter remains on deck, blades folded, waiting. This restraint is deliberate, because the submarine still believes the ship has not noticed. And that belief is powerful. It creates patience, it creates confidence, and eventually it creates exposure. Another subtle shift passes through the sonar feed. This time there is no doubt. A change in internal machinery rhythm consistent with final checks. No outer doors opening, no tube activity. But close enough to matter. Weapon state likely. Even spoken softly, the phrase lands with weight. The captain never looks away from the plot. He does not ask for confirmation. He does not ask how much time remains. He already knows. Because this is the moment when the hunter decides whether to act, reposition, or break away. And the submarine, convinced it holds the advantage, stays on course and waits, unaware that by committing this deeply to the geometry, it has already surrendered the one thing it needed most: a clean way out. The ocean remains quiet. The ship remains steady. And below the keel, the unseen countdown continues. Then, at 5 o'clock local time, the geometry breaks. Not because the submarine makes its move, not because the ship panics, because the ship decides the waiting is over. Execute anti-submarine sequence. The order is quiet, almost casual, but below deck the response is immediate. Systems that had been standing by move fully online. Data streams merge. Passive inputs combine with predictive models shaped by years of drills and real-world encounters. On the screen, uncertainty tightens into clarity. The helicopter lifts off without spectacle. No alarms, no dramatic announcements. Just the heavy beat of rotors as it clears the deck and skims low over the wake with practiced precision. Its sensors are already working, gathering surface and subsurface data as it pulls away from the ship. Below the surface, the submarine hears it. At first, it is only a distant rhythm. Then it becomes unmistakable. Rotor noise. The contact hesitates. It is a tiny pause, barely a second, but the sonar team catches it instantly. The machinery cadence stumbles, then resumes, just slightly louder than before. That hesitation says everything. The helicopter releases its first buoy. A clean splash, then silence. The buoy listens, another follows, placed with care, then another. Not scattered at random, but arranged in a line. A pattern meant not to block movement, but to shape it. The kind of barrier that does not force a choice, but punishes the wrong one. buoy field established. The submarine reacts. Depth changes sharply. Too sharply. It drops hard, trying to punch through the very layer it had been using for cover. For the first time since the contact was detected, speed suddenly jumps. And speed creates noise. Noise destroys concealment. Contact braking pattern. Track strong. The ship still holds steady, but now the balance has shifted. What was once only a shadow is now a clear trace. What was once uncertain is now sharply defined. Active sonar comes online. One ping, controlled, focused, narrow. The sound moves through the water like a spotlight, not cast blindly but aimed with purpose. It does not need to be loud, it only needs to be precise. The return comes back at once. Clean, solid, unmistakable, contact firm, solution quality high. On the plot, the symbol locks into place. Bearing confirmed, range confirmed, depth confirmed. The submarine's attempt to reposition has trapped it between the ship and the listening buoys, inside a corridor that grows tighter with every passing second. The helicopter shifts its orbit and drops another buoy, closing the remaining gap. From above, the sea still looks empty. From below, it is filled with unseen boundaries. The submarine turns again, harder this time. A sharp move meant to throw off the tracking solution. Instead, it makes the problem worse. The turn exposes a fresh angle, giving both the ship's sonar and the buoy field a cleaner surface to read. Noise surges again. Cavitation flashes briefly, then disappears as speed falls away. Too late. Contact fully exposed. No one celebrates. No one shows emotion. This is not triumph. It is confirmation. The submarine has lost the one thing that mattered most, its edge. From this point on, every movement is visible. Every attempt to disappear reveals something new. The same ocean that had protected it moments ago now works against it, carrying its sound farther, cleaner, and with greater clarity. The captain studies the display, then speaks. Hold weapons. Maintain track. The choice is deliberate. This is not about destruction. It is about control. The helicopter stays in orbit, sensors locked, ready but restrained. The ship keeps its course, refusing to chase, refusing to crowd the contact. Pressure without pursuit. Below the surface, the submarine slows almost to nothing. Its commander understands now. The firing angles are gone. The silence is gone. The advantage is gone. The contact begins to turn away, slowly and carefully. No sudden dive, no burst of speed, just a controlled withdrawal along the only path still open. On the sonar plot, the line begins to stretch as the range opens. Contact disengaging. The helicopter shadows it for a while, then breaks off, climbing and returning to the ship. The boys continue listening until the submarine fades beyond their reach, its sound dissolving back into the vast noise of the sea. Active sonar goes dark. Silence returns. On the bridge, nothing changes. The ship continues its transit as though nothing unusual ever happened. But below the surface, the message has already been delivered without a single word. You were detected, you were tracked, and you were allowed to leave. At 6:18 local time, the ocean settles again. Active systems power down. Displays dim. The buoy field is recovered where possible or left behind to drift. Its purpose already served. On the plot, the contact line grows thinner, then fragments, then finally dissolves into background noise. Contact faded. The report is final. Nothing more needs to be said. The ship keeps the same course and the same speed as before. To anyone observing from a distance, it would appear that nothing at all took place. No dramatic turn, no visible signal, no obvious response. That is exactly the point. Inside the Combat Information Center, the work goes on, not in haste, but with precision. Every minute of the encounter is pulled apart, aligned, and reviewed. Acoustic signatures are cleaned and tagged. Maneuvers are replayed moment by moment. Every hesitation, every burst of speed, every turn is measured against known doctrine. What matters most is not how close the submarine came. What matters is why it chose to back away. Now, the analyst can see it clearly. The submarine entered the encounter believing it had identified an ordinary surface combatant, a routine transit, a manageable target, something to shadow, study, and perhaps pressure. That assumption shaped everything. It shaped the geometry it selected. It shaped the patience it showed. It shaped the moment it committed. And once the environment changed, once the helicopter appeared, once the buoy field took shape, once that first controlled sonar return came back clean, it had no room left to recover. That is the quiet reality of undersea conflict. The side that reveals itself last usually holds the advantage. On this ship, restraint was never uncertainty. It was timing. Every decision, staying passive, holding course, delaying the helicopter, was meant to let the other side complete its own picture. Because a completed picture is easier to defeat than an uncertain one. The captain reviews the final plot. He adds no comment. He does not need to. The result speaks clearly enough. No weapons used, no damage taken, no escalation required, only control maintained through discipline. The sonar team begins securing the station. Headsets come off, Coffee is poured, and the ship eases back into routine without any ceremony. Watch teams rotate, logs are signed off. On the surface, everything feels normal again. But the encounter is not forgotten. Somewhere below, a submarine is moving away with a completely different understanding of what it had approached. Its crew now knows they were detected early, followed the entire time, and rendered ineffective without a single shot being fired. They know the exact moment control changed hands. They felt it, and that kind of realization stays with you. For the U.S. Navy, this is not some rare exception. It is the result of repetition, countless hours of training, decades of doctrine, and a culture that values discipline just as much as strength. The goal was never to open fire. The goal was to end the encounter on American terms. And that goal was achieved. As the sun climbs higher, the sea looks exactly as it did before, calm, open, and indifferent. The ship's wake stretches behind it in a clean white line, already beginning to fade. Beneath the surface, the water has gone quiet again, but it has not given back what it holds. Every sound was captured, every movement was recorded, every lesson was kept. The encounter ends the same way it began, without spectacle. Just a ship continuing forward, and a quiet reminder written beneath the waves. Choosing the wrong target does not always end in disaster. Sometimes it ends in understanding.